Hey guys, it's me, Sam. And so today I wanted to do kind of my best of 2022, but I'm kind of gonna also just like briefly review other products kind of in the same categories to kind of explain why these things kind of ended on the top. I am going to leave out obviously some items that I've already decluttered because they weren't even worth keeping. I'm also going to include the items that I've already kind of reviewed in my worst of 2022, which were just 5 items that I actually still had lingering around that I felt like weren't the best. I feel like this is going to be a very long video, so if you want to go grab a snack, this is your time to go do that. If you are new to my channel, hi, my name is Sam. I do a lot of beauty review content here, and if you are into that stuff, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you can come back and see more content with me. And I'm not going to go in any particular order. I've thought, well, I'll try. I'm going to try to go into a particular order. I also do want to mention that I'm only going to talk about products that released in the year 2022 because I feel like there's sometimes like some confusion when I feel like I watch videos that say best of 2022, but then they've included products that are years and years old. I feel like I personally am looking to see what are the newer products that they're liking, not just the old ones. I do feel like in some categories, even the best of this year don't beat out my favorites from past years. So I think I may do kind of like my top 3 of every category videos in the next month or something to kind of tell you guys like what are my favorites. But let's just get into it for now. For primers, I actually didn't try a primer that's a lie. I tried 2 primers that released this year. The other primer that I used early in the year was the LYS gripping one, but that did not release this year, so I'm not going to talk about that. The 2 primers that I purchased this year that were released this year were the Fix and Last gripping primer from Essence and the e.l.f. Power Grip with niacinamide. And then I guess we could call this a primer, but it may be considered more of an illuminator. This is the e.l.f. Halo Glow. I have 2 shades. This one is the shade medium. I also have the medium tan one. I'm going to actually put that to the side for now. As far as primers go, if I had to pick between the 2, I might go with the Power Grip. I think if I had to choose between the 2, I'd probably reach for the Essence one over the Power Grip. The Power Grip one is really, really good. Don't get me wrong. It's going to make your makeup last. But I will note there's something that I haven't heard other people talk about who love this product. Or the traditional Power Grip one is the fact that this is a very glowy primer. So if you have combo to oily skin, this may not be an ideal product for you. I do find that if I wore this or when I've worn this recently with something that's a little bit more glowy as far as the foundation or the concealer and everything like that, I tend to look a little greasy. If I wear this with something matte, it does kind of even itself out. And then eventually my skin has more of a natural finish a couple hours in. I don't get as glowy, but I will say this is a hydrating primer. I tend not to go towards hydrating primers like this. It still has not beat out my actual favorite primer. These are good though. I really wouldn't pick either of these to be the best, if I'm being honest. I feel like there's probably something newer that came out this year that I just did not try. So I really don't want to say there's a best, but if I had to pick between the 2 of them, I would go with the Essence. So the next category would be foundations. And I actually didn't try that many foundations this year. I tried the NARS Light Radiant or Light Reflecting Foundation, which I was not a fan of. And I tried the She Glam Skinfluencer Full Coverage Foundation Balm. That's quite the name. I tried this, and then I tried the Makeup Forever HD. The best for me is the Makeup Forever HD. This is a perfect shade for this complexion right here. This is a 3Y46. I love this foundation. It has a beautiful natural finish. it leans towards matte, but it has a natural finish. And then as the day goes on, you just look more natural. It's very long wearing. It doesn't get greasy on me, makes my skin look absolutely beautiful. So I do really, really love this foundation a lot. If you are looking for a drugstore foundation, I do really like this She Glam one. I know that there is a conversation about Shein and all the products from She Glam and how they're not necessarily treating their employees very well. I do want to say, like, my values for me personally will lean me to not purchase any more products from She Glam now that I am aware of the work environment that they're creating for their employees. But I will have to say that, like, part of me very much understands why a person would purchase from Shein, and I do not feel like I anybody should be feeling bad or shamed or whatever for purchasing makeup from She Glam because quite honestly, like I grew up real ghetto and like we could not afford a lot of things. And back in the day, the same kind of conversations were had about Walmart or Ames or whatever. And sometimes depending on your income, you don't have a choice to shop at anywhere else. So I feel like if you're a person who can't really afford, high-end makeup, maybe even the drugstore right now, that's been pretty expensive to get drugstore makeup. The prices just keep going up and up. If She Glam is in your budget, then this foundation is good. So I just want to say that because, like I said, there were times in my life where I didn't have the option to have so much of a moral code to not shop at places because of whatever the work conditions were for those types of people. In fact, a lot of times, the work conditions for even my people, but they were not great. And so that's all I'm going to say about that. I think this is a great product. I do have a couple other She Glam products in here that I'm going to talk about because I've already bought them. I've already used them. And it is what it is. The next product that I want to talk about is concealer. So I actually did not try a whole mess of new concealers this year. I feel like last year in 2021, I tried a decent amount of new concealers, but this year a lot came out, but I really did a good job, I think, kind of like holding myself back and all of that. But I tried the LYS Triple Fix Full Coverage Concealer and the Huda Beauty, what's this called? The Full Filter Luminous Concealer or whatever. I will say, both of these are full coverage. I like the colors and shade that I got in the Huda one, so part of me kind of wants to pick that. But honestly, as far as texture, application, all of that, I actually prefer the LYS. And that the reason is that yes, this is kind of luminous matte, but it is almost too matte. And if you have any kind of texture under your eyes, any kind of fine lines that you really are concerned about, I am a little bit more insecure about my under eyes. This, I'm not exactly a fan of underneath my eyes. I don't feel like it's amazing. So for me, I'm going to go with the Triple Fix Concealer from LYS. Face powder, I didn't try any new face powder this year. Bronzer, this year, I did try a lot of bronzers. Bronzers always kind of get me. So the first bronzer I'm going to talk about very briefly is the ColourPop Putty Bronzer. I have mine in Dream Vacay. This is a really pretty shade on me. I will say that it is a little too light where it just doesn't really show up when I have foundation or whatever on. It doesn't layer on my foundation well unless I'm really digging in there. And I really don't like the idea of like caking up my makeup just to make it present. I do really enjoy this though when I have a bare face and there's no foundation on. And it's just kind of like bronzer, maybe a little bit of blush and mascara out the door type of situation. I do enjoy this. I don't think it's my favorite bronzer. All right, I had a runaway bronzer. I had to go find it. For the drugstore, price range, as far as like the ColourPop, I also tried the L'Oreal what they call it, infallible bronzer, and I have the shade tan. I would prefer this over the ColourPop one. I just feel like this is really pigmented, easy to apply. It's pretty reliable, smooth powder on the skin, and really easy to blend. This would be my best if I was doing like drugstore versus high-end type of situation. This in this price range, I would definitely go with the L'Oreal. Although I don't think it beats my high-end bronzer. So if we're just going overall, it's really kind of a tie between the House Labs bronzer. I have mine in medium level 7. This is a really interesting formula. It's it goes on very like matte and smooth, velvety on the skin. It is kind of like a creamy texture when you actually put your hand in, like your finger into the product. It's really creamy, but it's still kind of a powder. It's very like sophisticated formula, and I really do love this. But I am going to put the Charlotte Tilbury cream bronzer. This is the Beautiful Skin Sun Kissed Glow bronzer. I have mine in tan above the House Labs, but it's very, very close. The only reason why I'm going to put this one just a step ahead of the House Labs is because this tone is very neutral and just really flattering on my skin. I love the shade of this one a lot more, but overall, they're really, really close up there as far as like which one is the best. So those are all the bronzers that I tried. You know what? That's a lie because I found this Rare Beauty one in here. This is the Rare Beauty in the shade Always Sunny. And I do really like this, but I still will say that the House Labs is above this and the Charlotte Tilbury is above that. But this is a great product as well. Like really, really, really good. I feel like I didn't really have a bronzer, or I'm going to say I didn't have a bronzer that I didn't love this year. I feel like they were all top notch. It's really like tight competition in the bronzer game lately. But that's the overall vibe of everything. For some honorable mention, I will say liquid bronzer is not my favorite kind of product application. I just find powder to be a lot easier, sometimes cream to be easy as well if it comes in kind of like a compact packaging. But liquid bronzers, I did not get disappointed with the She Glam. I have mine in Warm Honey, and then I have the Milani one in Ginger, and I really, really love these as well. But again, just the powder ones, I tend to lean towards the convenience of that over a product like this, but these are really, really good as well. All right, so I do want to back it up a little bit back to foundations because powder foundations were something that I tried for the first time this year, and I picked up the Essence 16 Hour Wear and the e.l.f. Camo Powder Foundation. And these are both really, really nice. This is the shade 12 Brown Sugar. And then I also have the e.l.f. Camo in 330W. Both of these are really good powder foundations. I feel like the e.l.f. one gives a little bit more coverage. I would pick the e.l.f. one over the Essence just because I feel like the e.l.f. one has a little bit more coverage. And personally, I want that medium coverage. I don't want just like a sheer wash of color. If I'm just doing a sheer coverage, I'm going to go with a tinted moisturizer, a true tinted moisturizer, or I'm not going to wear anything at all. So as far as powder foundation goes, I would go, the best one would be the e.l.f. one from the drugstore anyway. I didn't try any high-end luxury or anything like that for powder foundation. We are going to get into blushes now, and I tried a whole mess of blushes this year. It ain't even funny. This is hard. There's a lot of good blush formulas here. So let's just, I don't even know how to wrap my head around it. Okay. Undone Beauty. This is the Sunset Bronzer. This is not a bronzer, obviously. If you take a look at that, that is 2 blushes and 2 highlights. They are beautiful. I really like this formula. It's not my favorite of the year, but it is really, really good. Other really good blushes are these ones from Unearthly Cosmetics. This one I think is Punch. And then I have, I don't know, the shade names. I wish we could put stickers. This is the purple one. And then I have the hot pink one here. Personally, the purple one is my favorite, but these are incredibly pigmented. You kind of have to be careful with these. So for that reason, they're not my like number one best of the year. I also tried Fashion Fair, their blush duo. This is the one in Rich Plum. I really did enjoy this. Did I feel like the formula was something spectacular, special, unique? No, I enjoyed it a lot, but I just didn't feel like it gave us something different. I also got some more of the Pat McGrath blushes. So this one is the Coral, Cosmic Coral. I also had the Paradise Glow one, which is still in my drawer. Honestly, the Paradise Glow one, I had higher expectations for it because I love Paradise Venus so much. But that one kind of left me a little disappointed. I liked this one a little bit better, but I still don't feel like it was my favorite blush of the year. We're going to talk about a slightly disappointed one. This one is from Valentino. This is the Eye to Cheek blush, dual use blush and shadow. This is the one in number 5. I think it's like Russo something, Rosy Russo or something like that. This is a beautiful blush formula and it looks stunning on the skin. It's a gorgeous pink blush color, but I'll tell you, like, when I pick this up, I'm not trying to be any type of way, but I'm just saying, like, when you spend 30 or more dollars on a product, you want it to just be spectacular. And I will say the formula is that, and the packaging, it looks real cute, right? It looks real cute, but this is chintzy plastic. It feels like a toy in the hand. And I will tell you this little latch, not once did it ever close to me when it was supposed to close. Now it's going to do it just to make me look bad. But honest to God, like, it would not close forever. And so like I have to like slam it shut to close it. And for that reason, it puts a bad taste in my mouth. The other blushes I really liked were these ones from ColourPop Super Sharp blushes. I'm not going to lie, my number one favorite formula, usually in general. I just feel like they're very consistent and that's why I love them. They're super reliable. And I have all the Tinkerbell ones and I really do like them all, but I still don't feel like it left the lasting impression that I kept reaching for the same one all the time. So I'm not going to put that as my number one, obviously. I also tried these and I didn't do a video on it. I was tempted, but I don't know. I feel like TikTok had a lot of content about these, but I didn't see anybody really talk about it on YouTube. These are the Revolution Pro, what do they call these? Hydra Bright Cream blushes. I got 2 of them, the peach one and the golden one. There was a pink one that I don't even know if anybody was able to get it. It was like super sold out because everybody was trying to compare it to the Charlotte Tilbury ones that I do not have. And nor do I care to have it because it looks like it's not made for brown skin. So I picked these 2 shades. I do like these. These to me, though, are not blushes. These are kind of highlighters or blush toppers. They are not a blush. It's too glittery to be an actual blush. Way too shimmery. So there's that. A formula that did impress me, but I still don't feel like it was my favorite, is the Super Dewy from Revolution Pro. This is in the color Blush Me Up. And I really enjoy this. Now, the name is confusing because it says Super Dewy, the formula anyways, but it is not dewy. It is matte, but it is really, really beautiful, easy to blend out. Again, liquid products tend not to be my favorite. I decluttered a lot of liquid products last year. I don't know why I bought so many this year, but that is besides the point. The pretty much runner-up in the blush game this year for me was the Chanel blushes. And I'm low-key tempted to purchase more Chanel blushes. I know that sounds crazy, but these are the limited edition ones that came out. This is in Brune Russie. This one is my favorite of the 2, for sure. I love a toasty blush. Give me a terracotta, give me a toasty brown, give me a rosy brown. Like I love, 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 love this kind of blush. And this formula is really, really easy to use and like super blendable, not too pigmented. You can kind of just go ham on this. And I really, really love that. And then I have the Pesh one here, Pesh Rosé. And this is what she looks like. This one's super beautiful in like the spring and the summertime. I really, really enjoy this blush. And the colors are really, really gorgeous. Definitely like up there, but my number one blush for sure is the Gucci blushes. I know that some people did not like this. They felt like they were a little patchy, but I will say that might just be because these are really pigmented. This is a pigmented blush. I got mine in warm berry. It is a very pigmented blush. So if you're applying it, especially with the trend this year of like the glowy skin, if you're applying a powder that's really pigmented on a dewy skin, it's gonna be tough to blend it out. You really kind of want to go in with a light hand and then build it up slowly because it is so pigmented that you can really easily get carried away. But like personally, because I'm a brown skin girl, I love seeing something with pigment on it. And so I just love this. Also, the compact is luxe. It feels weighted. It's like really cute. It's plastic, but it doesn't have the chintzy. Like, come on. This is ridiculous. When you're paying this kind of money, this is what I expect. This is what I wanted this to be like, the packaging, and it just wasn't there. But also the color on this one is just bomb. So this is my best of 2022 as far as my blushes go. All right, highlighter. I got a lot of highlighter this year too. All right, let's see. Think definitely at the bottom is going to be these Milani ones. Not that they're not good. I just don't reach for liquid products like this that much. I do appreciate that it has a little sponge so I don't have to like put it on the back of my hand and this and that. But like, I still don't know if I'm going to reach for these over a powder one or a cream one that comes in like a putty situation. So for that reason, I just don't think that, yeah, I could say that. I'm going to take a look. Okay, so for highlighter, we had a lot of things going, right? We had this e.l.f. liquid illuminator, primer, highlighter, whatever. I really like this. I don't think it's my number one favorite illuminating product in general, but it's definitely like the best of this year if we're thinking about illuminators. As far as true highlighters go, I think my last place is going to be the Pillow Talk Dreamlight. And this is the darker of the two. This is a really good highlighter. I actually really like it a lot, but I don't think it's like my number one. Okay, the next one is going to be the Pat McGrath Venetian Nude. I really enjoy this as well. I have all of her Big Gelée highlighters. I really, really love these. And this shade is really, really good, but it's just a little glittery if I'm comparing it to the other ones. Then next would be the House Labs, and this is the Opal Fire. And it's kind of for the same reason. I love this highlighter and I love the color, and I like to use it as a blush topper, but it's a little too sparkly for me. I do want something that's a little bit more smooth, a little bit more ethereal. So for that reason, that is not the number one. The next one is a newer product to me, so I kind of don't want to give it like the top of the best because it just came out, and it's the Rare Beauty highlighters. For my complexion, if you are my complexion, I would recommend the shade Flaunt over Exhilarate. I got the shade Exhilarate first, and I do like it, but it does leave a slight cast. I do feel like when we're in the real depth of winter in January and February, this might match me a little bit better, but I do feel like it kind of gives me a little bit of a cast. Between the two, I would go with Flaunt. Flaunt is a lot better suited for my complexion, I feel like personally anyway. And so that would go there. The next would be my ColourPop highlighters. I have the Winnie the Pooh one, and I got the one from the Avatar collection. This one is going to be my favorite out of all of the ones. This is the Got Glow. This came again with the Avatar collection. Love that highlighter. It's absolutely stunning. So easy to use. You can use a finger, you can use a brush, you can do anything with it. And I just really like this formula a lot. But I would say my number one is the Pat McGrath Golden Moonlight. And I also like the same formula in the Something Venus, but I feel like these ones that were individual came out this year where she kind of had this formula, but only had given it to us in palettes before. And I really, really love this. It's just so smooth on the skin and it really gives like a gorgeous gleam highlight to the skin without the glitter, without it being streaky, without it looking powdery. I just really think this is a really amazing formula. So this is my number one best of 2022 highlighter. Now I kind of want to get into like multitasking face palettes and other kind of products because I've tried a lot this year. All right, so the Pat McGrath Bridgerton face palette. This is the Love at First blush face palette. I love the highlight here and the blushes. I actually was kind of hesitant because these are a little bit lighter. I wasn't sure about the pigmentation, but Pat McGrath does not disappoint. All of the products in here are absolutely stunning and work really well for me. I'm not sure at this very second that I'm literally rating it as we go. So if you are not catching that, that's what's going on. I'm talking about each thing and I'm making my decision on the spot. So I'm not sure that this is the number one spot, but it's definitely really, really good. Then we had the Hin Dash Monochromance palette. I did a video on this and oh my God, I was so shocked the first time I used this all over my face. I took this on vacation with me after that and it really is an amazing palette and it really is very diverse and like kind of gives you lots of options. I love that. I feel like this was extremely innovative and for that it kind of has a place of its own outside of even this because it does way more than just like your face. I'm not sure that it's my absolute favorite just because of the colors. So I'm not going to put this at the top just yet. I do feel like it's up there just because it's kind of in a class of its own, honestly. The next multitasking thing is the Charlotte Tilbury 5-Minute Face. I think that's what it's called. This is the chic one. And honestly, I did not think I was going to use this as much as I did this year. Even the highlighter shade, honestly, I didn't feel like it really worked for me. I still don't. I don't really use it as a highlighter all the time on my face, but I use it all the time on my eyes as kind of like a just like one and done eyeshadow just to kind of get like a wet metallic look on my lid because it is extremely like transparent, the base, and it just gives like a very beautiful, like, I don't know, gorgeous look on the lid. And so I do enjoy using it. And then when it kind of creases, I just tap it out with my finger. The lip and product in here and the eyeshadow product is gorgeous, but I don't think it's my favorite just because of that highlighter, but I did use this a ton. Like if I was going by like most use, that might be everything else because I did use that probably the most just because a lot of times I don't wear makeup all over my face. The next would be, if I was going up the ladder, would be the Natasha Denona My Dream Collection. I know this was like a lot of people's favorites this year, but honest to God, like I love the two highlighters. They're absolutely perfect on me. And the blush does show up, but it's just so light. It's just not for my complexion. Like this is her dream collection. So I'm not going to like say that it's bad because the quality of it is good. It's just like, it's literally was a dream collection for a Caucasian woman. I am not a Caucasian woman, so this was like not made specifically for me. So I understand that. And for that reason, I'm like, okay, it's not a big deal. I still love this, but it's not my number one favorite, if you know what I'm saying. So the next thing would be the Pillow Talk Beautifying Face Palette from Charlotte Tilbury. I have the medium one. Absolutely love this. Every single shade in here, absolutely gorgeous. A++. She hit the mark on all of it. This was definitely very close to the tippity top for me. I'm going to go over two other face palettes that I think are under this. This would be like my second place, but it's not the number one. And I do love the little packaging. She does such a good job with that. All right, so the two things that would be like below it are the Hourglass Ambient Unlock palettes, but the elephant one and the butterfly one. And I'm going to explain why. I do love all of these palettes and I've used them all multiple times. So this is the elephant one. And this is the one that most people that have my complexion have really chose as their number one, and I could see why. A lot of all the shades in here work for you, all of them. But personally, I these two blushes to me are not my preference because they're just a little lighter. You know what I'm saying? This bronzer works great. These finishing powders work great. The highlighter is great. Like, there's not really anything wrong with it. It's just not my favorite color story as far as like preference goes. The butterfly one, these finishing powders, I can still use it. I'll use the lightest one under my eye, and it really just kind of creates that like brightening effect. If you guys are thinking about that Rare Beauty brightening concealer or whatever, like just use a powder that has a little shimmer under the eye. I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, that sounds scary." I'm not telling you to use the Huda Beauty face powder, the glow one, under the eye. Just something like this. I feel like the Too Faced face palettes that are now discontinued, I used to use that one all the time. They have like a soft focus powder. If you have that palette, try it. Or one of the Hourglass finishing powders. Those are made to set the whole face, but I usually, put it under my eye and I love the way it looks. And I prefer the blushes in this palette over the one in the Elephant palette. This highlighter still works for me. It doesn't even give me a cast really, but it's a little lighter than what I would love. So the number one for me ultimately is the Tiger one. And this is the finishing powder in here, but for me, it's obviously too dark, but I use that as a bronzer. I use this as a bronzer. This is a blush. This is a blush. This is like a blushy, bronzy blush topper. And even though that's supposed to be a highlighter, and then this is a highlighter, and that works for me as a highlighter, and this is a highlighter, and that works for me as a highlighter. I love it. The only thing that would be missing really is a true finishing powder, but that's fine. I don't set my whole face all the time. I could just use another powder for under my eyes. This is the one that I would use over the other two. If I had to choose only one, this is the one. And this finishing powder as a bronzer, it's mint. I think I filmed a video using that as a primer. I thought it was a blush or something, and it looked beautiful. It looked beautiful. So yeah, this would be my number one face palette, honest to God. And then I do want to do an honorable mention really quick on my Merit skincare. This is the Great Skin Instant Glow Serum. I use this like every single day, even when I'm not wearing makeup. I love how hydrating it feels on the skin, and I do feel like it is doing something. I do feel like my skin is evening out a little bit better. I feel like it's that product. Honestly, I don't think it's been long enough to really say definitively, but I love that product. I'm loving it. I'm enjoying it. I think it's a really amazing product. Okay, so for mascaras, I tried 3 mascaras this year. The first one was the Milani High Anti-Gravity, highly rated anti-gravity mascara. I love this. This one right now is dried out, so I'm gonna probably order a new one, but I'm gonna wait because I have so many open. But this one was my favorite mascara this year. I used it over and over and over and over and over and over again. I'm pretty sure this is my second one. I went through one. This is the second one I went through. Love that mascara. Then I tried the CoverGirl Lash Plumping Mascara. So I do like this mascara. I'm actually wearing it on my top lashes right now, but I do not like it on my lower lashes. It does smudge, and that is a no-no for me. I will continue to use it on my upper lashes, and I do feel like it is beautiful, but for that reason, it is not my favorite. This e.l.f. Lash and Roll Mascara, this is a newer one to me. I've used it like 3 times. I can say it's really, really good at separating, lengthening the lashes. It does give it a nice curl, but it doesn't give me the volume. And I need all of the things. And that's why the Milani one is just the number one. There's nothing that can beat it right now at the drugstore. So brow products, I only tried one new brow product this year. I don't even know if this is like actually new to this year. But this is the e.l.f. Baby Got Brow Pencil. Like it a lot. It's really, really good. But again, I don't know if this actually came out this year, but this was something new to me this year. And then lips. There's one product that's in my purse right now, so I will talk about it, and I'll put a image of it here because I don't feel like getting up to go get it. So we tried a lot of lip products this year that are new new releases. The one that I don't have with me right now is the Give Beauty Gwen Stefani lipstick. I think it's in Tragic Me. That one is really beautiful on my complexion. I wish I was wearing it right now. It actually looks very similar to what I'm wearing right now. It's lighter than it looks. Like, I feel like the stick, when you pull it up, you're like, oh, that looks like it's going to be darker. And then you put it on and you're like, no, because I'm tan. And when I see other people on YouTube wearing it, they tend to be of a lighter complexion. So it looks a little darker on them. I really love that formula. It's a matte formula. It's very creamy on the lips, but I will say it's a little bit drying, and I already have very dry lips. So for that reason, it's not my favorite. I do also really like this NARS lipstick. This is in Dragon Girl. Really, really beautiful, like red color. Absolutely stunning. This formula is really, really gorgeous. I will say it's very similar to the Color Girl Exhibitionist lipsticks that I love as well. And the component actually looks very similar. I like this one over the Give Beauty, but they're both really good. This one goes on a little less creamy, but it dries out your lips less, if that makes any sense as far as a matte lipstick goes. The next one from going up the list would be the Gucci liquid lipstick. I have this one in Mildred Rosewood. Love the color. Very thin pigmented formula, long wearing, does not dry your lips that much. Really, really good. I mean, it's a matte formula, so you're going to have some drying of the lips, but it's not going to like suck the life out of your lips. I do feel like these are kind of similar in the dry down, but it's really, really good. I really like this one. I don't wear a lot of liquid lipsticks, and so that's why this one's kind of like not on the top of my list for favorite lip product. But as far as favorite liquid lipstick, I could say this is up there. Then we have the House Lab Lip Crayon, and this is in Mocha Matte. Love this color. Love the formula of this a lot. I would say I hate this component. I really hate this component. I don't like when all these lipsticks have all these like very long or like weird shapes. I want something that's kind of regular. I do appreciate that it has like a nice little pencil point type situation to it, but if you just give it to me in a regular lipstick, it'll be fine. But I really enjoy this. I like this. I've had this in my purse many, many a times. Then I have here the next one up would be the Hindash lipstick. I have it in Rest in Roses. This is the Manifesto lipstick. It's a matte balm. That's why I like this a little bit more than all those other products because it does feel very balmy on the skin, but it is matte. It's weird. It's like a creamy matte. It doesn't have any drying, but it has a matte finish. And I really like this. I think it's absolutely beautiful. It is a little thinner. It is very like balmy, so you kind of have to build up the color if you want it like that. But I do like that you can just kind of wear a little sheer wash of it. And yeah, the component is cute. Yeah, I just really, really enjoyed that a lot. Now, I do prefer something hydrating because I have dry lips. I'm the person who kind of loves to like bite on the skin of the lips. So I do kind of like a glowy product to kind of try to prevent me from doing that. And it's really between these two as far as like my favorite lip products of the year. I love the plumping sensation in this because it doesn't actually really plump. It's just kind of like a nice, it's a strong mint, but it's not plump. I don't find it to be plumping. This is my favorite shade in Honeysuckle. I do also have Peachy Beige, which is nice, but Honeysuckle is my favorite one. This I keep by my desk all day long. When I'm working, I just keep reapplying it. But I do think this is kind of a cheat because I think it released in December of 2021, but because we really didn't try until January, I'm going to count it as 2022. But this is my favorite. This is the L'Oreal Paradise Glowy Liquid Lip Balm. And mine's is in the shade 110. And I love this because it's a hydrating liquid balm. It's very similar to the Rare Beauty liquid lip balm, but I think this is even better, honest to God, because it lasts so much longer and it has a very plush, like an even more plush feel on the lips, and it looks real. They're even more pigmented than the Rare Beauty ones. So I love this formula. Like, this is really my number one favorite lip product probably of this year. And um yeah, that's pretty much it. I think I've talked enough about a bajillion things, and hopefully this was helpful. I felt like I wanted to give you guys the ranking because I feel like a lot of people like the ranking the best, the best, the best, but there's a lot of good products that maybe are not my favorite, but would be your favorite. I'd love to know what your favorites were, what your best were. If you tried any of these products and if you thought they sucked or were amazing, let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for hanging out. And until next time, love you guys. Bye.